Good morning, it's Natalie Zagon. Hope everyone is doing well and having a wonderful morning. So today I wanted to do a Davar Torah that had always been something that was on my mind, and everything falls into place the right way. So I always had a question with this concept that you hear when Kohanim are dating and wanting to get married. They say that, like I only can marry a virgin. Like because I'm a Cohen, I could only marry a virgin. Like when I suggest someone to them, they say, you know what, I can only it has to be someone that's a virgin because I'm a Cohen. So it was something that always made me wonder. So what does a Cohen have to do? If Is it always just about who they have to marry, or what about them? Like what do they have to do to also ask for that? Is it that they just ask for that, or also is there things that relates to them, to their roles, to their responsibility, to their essence as a Kohen? During the time of the Beit HaMikdash, there were a group of people who were called the Kohanim, who were ancestors of Aharon, Moshe's brother, who were called the Kohanim, and like the high priest that went and did the work for the Beit HaMikdash, and they served in the Beit HaMikdash, and they represented the Am Yisrael on our behalf. They would go and they would do the act of service in the Beit HaMikdash. So this week's parasha that just passed, last week's parasha Tezaveh, has a whole parasha explaining to us that what the responsibility of the Kohen was. The garments that there is sections after section in the parasha of Tezaveh that tells us about the clothing of the Kohen HaGadol. As you can see, he has an under one, and then he has the one that goes on top, and then the one that goes on top of that, and then he has a special based on the highest of the highest Kohen, he has this, and then he has the crown that wears on top of it, and then he has the one with the stones that he wears, and the one, it says on it, Kodesh le Hashem. He is holy to Hashem. He is holy. So, and also I wanted to read for you here. It says, the priests are to be adorned in a special clothing. All the priests are to wear 4 garments: linen, breeches, tunics, sashes, and turban. In addition to these 4 articles, the high priest Aaron is to wear a special robe of pure decorated at hem with pomegranate and golden bells. Over this robe, the ephod and an apron, like layer of woven of gold, purple, and crimson to be worn. The breastplate, inlaid with precious stones and the names of the 12 tribes, is to be worn by the highest priest over the ephod. The 8 special items in the high priest's dress is a gold plate engraved the words Kodesh le Hashem. Kodesh le Hashem. So let's understand this, please. Let's take a moment and understand this, please. So the Kohen HaGadol, the Kohanim, are Kodesh to Hashem. So that what that means is there is a responsibility. If you are going through the world and identifying yourself as a Kohen and saying you're going to want a wife that's a virgin, and you want a wife that's has never been with anyone because you're a Kohen, are you acting as being holy to Hashem? Are you behaving like a Kohen did? Are you taking care of your body? Are you wearing the garments on top of the garments on top of the garments and behaving like a Kohen? The Torah is never one way. The Torah is never teaches you to just do this and look for that. Even the concept of love, when you say I love you, it's all about what are you doing for that thing that you love. It's all about what are you presenting for that. It's not just about what that has to do for me. It's also what I'm doing for that. So as a Kohen, listen, okay? Listen to what I am saying. Being a Kohen comes from a very, very high level of being a high priest, So it's about why do they have so many garments on top of garments on top of garments? To kind of remove themselves from the physicality and the physical drive and the desires of the physical world to be able to connect to godliness. So a Cohen walks through the world, walks understanding that there is more to my body than just the body itself. So he puts garment on top of the garment to remind himself of that constantly. So when a Cohen says, I only want to marry a virgin, or they're growing up and saying, they need to be mindful of their behaviors all days of their life. They need to behavior of their actions, of their relationships, of their connection, and be watchful of it. It doesn't mean that as a Cohen, you go around, you date this person, you date that person, you date a non-Jew, you date a Jew, you date a Jew, you do whatever you want. And then when you want to get married, you come and say to me, you want to marry a virgin? Listen to me. Listen carefully. Being a Cohen comes from a high level of standard. So you need to act like one. You need to behave like one. You need to have an outlook on life of what it means to be a dignified Cohen. Besides a Cohen, even a Ben Israel, a Jewish man, has to be mindful of his body, all his ways. How you treat people, how you treat girls, how you go out with them. Girls are not objects. If you're not planning to marry them, if you're not planning to have a long-lasting relationship, how dare you make it as if to trick them to be with them? Imagine if the behaviors you're doing to other people's daughters would happen to your daughter. As you're taking girls out and saying words out of your mouth and getting close to them, imagine karma, mida keneged mida, what goes around comes around, is a true concept. Do not do to other people's daughters what you don't want to be done to your daughter. Be mindful of how you're treating people's children. Every person, every guy, every girl belongs to a family. And first and foremost, they belong to God. And they need to be treated only with kavod, only with respect. Be mindful of your body. Kodesh leHashem, holy to God. When you're holy to God, you're holy to your body, you're holy to the other, you're mindful of your behaviors. So be mindful of that. Next time you hear anyone identify themselves as a Cohen, remind them, how are you behaving like one? Thank you for listening. This is Natalie Zangon, parasha Tezaveh. Oh, sorry. One more thing I wanted to end with is, we had a Purim gathering for women last night. So one of the girls comes and says to me, Natalie, can I dress like, she's like, I want to be you. I said, okay. She's like, is that okay with you? I said, yeah, sure. And the whole time I'm thinking, how is she going to be me? How do you become me? So she comes to my house early before the get-together and she says, can I please have one of your dresses, the ones that you wear, the flowy one, and one of your mitbachat, because I look up to you. And I really like how you dress yourself, and I want to be you. I want to dress like you because I want to be you. And I said to myself, this is so profound. When she wants to identify as me, she asks for my clothing to be me. So being me in this world represents of how I dress. And how I dress resembles who I am. So when she puts on my clothing, she's showing that she is me. She's dressing like me for Purim. And this is the big lesson from the parasha Tezaveh, that the Kohanim had a special clothing. Chapters, paragraph after paragraph describing it, garments on top of garment. So that's what shows us to be holy, to be sanctified, is all about the clothing and the representation of who we are. And many of the mitzvot that the Kohanim did in the Beit HaMikdash are things that women, the Jewish woman, Nashim Tatkaniot, now have. Lighting the candle like they did in the Beit HaMikdash. The clothing we have mitzvot upon mitzvot of what to dress like, how to represent ourselves, making the bread for Shabbat, doing the mitzvah of mikveh, very similar to what the Kohanim did during the Beit HaMikdash, we do in our home as Nashim Tatkaniot.